Hey, it's ODB, the Lincoln Addict. I want to go live here. You're going to see this on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to give it just a second, and I'm going to talk about some of the Barrett-Jackson sales. There's a couple so far that have already sold. There's definitely some surprises. And I want to thank Robbie Reynolds, Double R, my homie from Sarasota, Bradenton area, for texting me just a little bit ago. I was away today doing some video production, so I wasn't able to go live earlier, but I want to go ahead and show you guys what we're looking at here. So let's present this. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's take a look. Now, some of you will probably watch this after the fact. I totally get it. Again, if you haven't already, check out Lincoln Addict Podcast. It's free via any podcast platform. So Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale is going on now. Some of the Raddies are out there, so shout out to them. You could follow the Raddies, Rattys, on Instagram, and they will they'll be providing updates. But what I want to show you all is the gamble that you take at Barrett-Jackson. And this is part of the gamble that they're always no reserve, which is different than Mecum. Mecum just happened in Kissimmee. There were some solid sales there. I'm going to go over each of these here in just a moment, but let's start with this one. It's a 67 convertible. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm not seeing anybody chime in with any comments, so there's a couple of you watching, so thank you. But this 67 convertible, this was a super nice car. This sold for $68,200. John Cashman even posted this one the other day on his Instagram. He went out there, I think, and he was in Scottsdale, and he said, hey, this is a super nice car. And it really, I think, I haven't seen this one in person, but by all accounts, I mean, it was a nice convertible. A solid price. We're starting to see the 66 and 67 verts go up. You're going to see that in just a moment. Unbelievable price in just a minute. I'll show you. This is with the buyer commission. So there's an asterisk here, and this always reinforces that this is with a buyer commission. Now, this is something that's mind-blowing to me. This 67 convertible, if you could see my screen, I'm sharing it, $143,000 for a 67 black convertible. So obviously, like I always talk about on my YouTube channel, the black is going to obviously be oftentimes what people want, a black Lincoln. I get it. This one has the Detroit steel wheel smoothies on it. You could see, for the most part, it looks like a nice car. Okay, mind-blowing to me that this hit 143 grand. It's great if you own a Lincoln. I think some people scratch their head and say, wow, these prices are getting kind of crazy. But this has the original 462. I've seen cars resto modded with a lot more money put in go for far less money, which again, it's very hard to figure out sometimes this market. So I want to say again, this 67 convertible sold for $143,000. Now check this out. This was where my mind was really blown. Justin Carrillo, he's in the truck club that I've been in since '98. He builds a lot of awesome cars. He built this 64 gold convertible. Now, I understand the purists aren't going to necessarily like this. You've got airbagged car, aftermarket wheels. You can see the mirror, aftermarket, actually on both sides. This, to me, is a car that a lot of people would want. A lot of people want an airbagged Lincoln. It does have shaved door handles. You know, it's got some things like you see underneath the hood, very nicely painted, very unique color. It's got a couple of options like the Autronic Eye, which is the automatic headlight dimmer. Okay, this has got an amazing stance, a nice offset on the rear wheel. This car, with the factory drivetrain, sold for $82,500. It's crazy sometimes these customized Lincolns, don't always bring the money that some of the stock Lincolns do. But we've seen a couple of years ago, obviously, a $600,000 to $700,000 custom Lincoln. So I understand, there's examples both ways to show that the customized Lincolns do go for often more. Sometimes they do. In this case, this car went for 82.5, which I think is a very nice Lincoln, and the mostly stock, except for the wheels, 67 went for nearly double the amount. That is mind-blowing to me. This 67 convertible, again, that I showed you a little bit ago, it went for 68,200, which is only 20,000 less than 20,000 than the 64 custom car went for. Now, I also know the gentleman that owned this car. This is a very cool, unique car. A 69 Lincoln, maybe not as favorite as the earlier years. This had a pretty crazy GM drivetrain. It went for 51,700. Again, I want to preface, these prices include the buyer commission. Typically, unless you're there or you're watching it on TV, you're not going to be able to see the hammer price, as some people will call it. The other one I wanted to mention, and then we'll wrap this video up, this was a very unique Lehman Peterson limo, a 66. This was owned by a jazz player, musician, and this one sold for 79,200. The big thing here was with this one, it has air suspension, so it's on the ground, has aftermarket wheels, but the rest of it is kind of the factory appearance. Again, $80,000 for the most part. Lastly, here's what I'm most excited about. Ali is bringing this car to market, and it's going to go across the block this evening, my understanding. This is a 64. It's not airbagged. It's on coilovers. It has an amazing Coyote drivetrain. I really hope it brings big bucks. But again, what we've seen so far is a stock 67 convertible blow through any estimation that I thought it would go for. So congrats to that seller. I love when these Lincolns go for a lot because it kind of reinforces that people love these cars and people were willing to pay top dollar. But I always caution people that, the custom Lincolns do not always bring more money. Generally speaking, they do. And I would totally agree with that. But certainly they do not always bring more money. So let me jump over here and stop sharing. And I know a few people are here. If you guys want to chime in, I don't know if I could see questions from YouTube and Facebook. I'm seeing, it looks like Byron did chime in. If you guys want to ask any questions, I'll stay on a few minutes here. Here's the big thing. I love air suspension. I've been around it since the mini truck days, which I'm still a part of the mini truck community. But as I've said in some of my posts, I do appreciate a stock Lincoln just as much now, if not more. Maybe it's I'm getting a little older, I don't know, but I will tell you, these cars are awesome even when they're stock. I've got a 65 that I'm going to drive later, and it's almost all stock, and it rides great. There's no issues in terms of the air suspension and things like that. And I have a custom Lincoln that has air suspension that I love as well. So I think you can love both, but I can tell you, in my opinion, I do think for the long run, as time goes on, and people, we can have good conversation over this. The stock Lincolns will, I think, in the long run, continue to hold value and or go up in price. And the reason for that is the more and more custom Lincolns that are out there, you could argue the less that there are of the stock Lincolns that are in great condition. But a lot of times people are also taking these cars like Mario. He'll take a car that is from the junkyard and strip down, and he'll sell it, and someone will bring that car back, and I love that. I'd rather a car get back on the road, custom or stock, versus being just kind of cut up and a fender going here and whatnot. Now that does have to happen sometimes. Lincoln Land does that all the time because people need parts. I totally get it. So there's that balance. But I do think custom Lincolns are awesome. I love them. I'm always going to love them. I'm anxious to see what the prices are going to continue to go for the stock versus the custom. If you're just joining us here, I'm going to present one more time here. I'm going to share my screen and just kind of reinforce what I'm very anxious about. And this car right here, again, a 64 Lincoln Continental convertible. Ali, he owns that company, Isotope Wheels, which you see many of the Lincoln enthusiasts these days running. This car is going to go across the block a little bit later today. This car, to me, could bring a lot. I really hope that it does. Ali, in the past, has built some of these Lincolns, and he puts an LS engine in them. Not because he can't put a Coyote in it. He did it with this. It's just that's what a lot of people want. But the prices have kind of topped off for him. And he said, you know what? Let me bring one here to Scottsdale 2024 and see what it will do as a custom Lincoln with the Ali special, if you will, kind of the interior mods and the things that he likes to do. But oh, by the way, let's put a Coyote engine in it, right? So hopefully the people that are walking by looking at this car, you know, they're not saying under their breath, oh, it's got a GM, it's got an LS, you know, it's got this. You know, what we're going to get to here, if I can find the photo, is right here. I guess I can't find the photo. I'm clicking through them. Right here. Boom. To me, it's not for everyone. I love my MEL 430. That's all I need. But I certainly understand where people will go with an engine like this. I mean, this is a great setup. It's all modern. I'm sure the work underneath it is really top notch. I know Ali uses some of the best kind of part vendors and fabricators out there to do these cars, and I'm rooting for them. So I would never want anyone to think, hey, Jason, you know, you're talking about the stock versus the, you know, the custom. I love custom Lincolns just as much as stock Lincolns. I really do. But I know my stock Lincoln, my friends always ask me, when are you going to put air suspension on it? And I reinforce to them, never. It's way too nice of a car to do that. Certainly, I could if I wanted to, but I'm just not going to. The stock Lincolns are awesome. So if you guys have any questions, you could put them in here. I'll stay on like another minute or two, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I definitely appreciate you guys chiming in here to the live Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale update. If you're scoring at home, the 67 blew past all expectations, convertible, pretty much stock other than the Detroit Steel Wheel Co. wheels. That's amazing. That's awesome. But who would have thought that it would blow past a 64 gold airbagged aftermarket wheels, stock drivetrain, convertible? I didn't. So lastly, I will tell you this. Some of my friends have posted the 60s C10s. Some of the prices are insane. If you think Lincolns are insane with the prices, I mean, we're seeing $350,000 on a Chevrolet C10, which I'm a truck guy as well. That I don't see it unless people are just needing tax write-offs. I don't know. Any questions, put them in there. I certainly appreciate all the support in social media as well as the podcast. If you haven't checked out the recent episode, please do so. I talk about the Goldfinger film. 60 years ago this month, they crushed a Lincoln in Florida, and I break down that scene. I also break down, I should, Robbie. Shout out to Robbie Reynolds, Double R. I break down that scene, but you got to check out the podcast. You can also watch a visual of it here on YouTube. But I would love to go. Maybe I will. Tony and I, Tony Boss Bolin, we're going to go over to Portillo's tonight. There's a cruise in, so maybe I'll go live there. But thank you all, and stay on the rise, everyone. Double R, I appreciate you, man. Boom.